All right. The National Economic Council on Thursday suspended the planned removal of subsidy on petroleum products by the end of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, made this known to State House correspondent shortly after the council meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the presidential villa on Wednesday. Ahmed said, or Thursday rather, Ahmed said the council agreed on the need for continued discussions on the issue, adding that the federal government, together with states and representatives of the incoming administration, require more preparatory work. Ahmed added that the FG federal government will be working together with representatives of the state between now and June 2023. So let's get talking now. But let me start with you, Mr. Kofi. What led to the suspension of the? What do you think it's leading to the suspension of the subsidy removal, and what are the implications for Nigeria's fiscal spending? Let me start.
Well, first foremost, they know this government is going. The incoming government is just stepping in. They should allow the incoming government to step in, get their ground first before they remove the subsidy. I think that is the right step for extending it. Though we know it cost us, but we bear that cost so that we allow the incoming government to get their ground before they set it rolling. Already they have end of borrowing fund and bringing the vehicle. These palliatives need to reach each corner of the country before you remove the subsidy. You don't remove the subsidy, then you start waiting that it's coming. Let people see it, feel it, and benefit from it before leaving the subsidy. It's a necessary evil. The country cannot continue to subsidize. We need to remove it, but we need to get this palliative reach every corner of the country. And by allowing the incoming government to settle before it goes on, I think it's a good thing. And expanding the stakeholder, bringing the labor and the other union is a welcome development because it is something that touches every aspect of Nigeria. So we need to have a wider committee that will bring all their ideas and see reason that why we need to remove the subsidy. So it's a welcome development and it's good to start with.
But yes, even though you said it's a welcome development, but the bad news is that we are going to be spending more. We are back to the days of borrowing again. So talk to us about how you think it will impact on Nigeria's revenue projection. Certainly.
If the subsidy is removed, the Nigerian revenue projection will be increased because we know that bulk of our revenue goes into subsidy. We are talking of 6 trillion. This is a huge. If you relieve even 3 trillion from 6 by the end of June, it is a relief, and that will help even in servicing our debt and also reducing our exposure. So removing subsidy is a necessary evil. There is nothing we can do. We have to do it. And after all other subsidies of the 4 products have been removed. Aviation, kerosene, diesel, gas, all this has been removed. So what left is PMS, premium motor spirit. And removing it, though we consume it in large quantity, it needs to take all the necessary measures, but it's a necessary evil that we have to deal with.
But now that the removal has been suspended, we are back to square one, isn't it?
No, not back to square one. It's just extended. Instead of starting it immediately in June, maybe started by July. By then, the government have got 1 month, have settled and set the ground going.
Okay.
Not you remove the subsidy and you hand it over to the new government. So they will be battling with so many chaos. Okay. But now they relieve them, extending it probably by 1 month, at best by 2 months.
Okay. Anyway, we do not have that information yet. Ambrose, let's have your take.
Yeah, like you have seen it another dimension. I'm coming in another way. Okay. Because
no, you're afraid to disagree. No, I mean, analysis of.
I'm coming another way. I'm looking at the way of the monetary policy angle of it, because of the first subsidy removal. Every analyst has forecasted we are going to see a kind of galloping inflation going to the future. Immediately they stop it in June. Right. Now that we're seeing kind of expected extension, I mean that globally we have seen that inflation in mature economy has started also kind of tapering down. It tells you that if we are going to see normalization in monetary policy, yes, CBN or MPC in this part of the world will also be thinking that at the rate of almost 18% on the MPR is hit, and this is the highest in Nigeria history, apart from whether 2005 when September we had such thing. But now if you are going ahead to add another 50 or 100 basis points because you want to manage, want to control or kind of checkmate inflation, it's going to be a problem. But with this subsidy suspension, I like to say that, that means naturally, as we speak now, we have seen that diesel has come below 700, around the 680, 650, 680 now. We have seen that Naira also a bit remains stable all this while. And also, if you look at commodity in the market, apart from the perishable, others have become a bit stable. That means we're likely to see a slowdown in inflation for the month of April. If that happens, naturally, we don't expect them to kind of hike rate again, or that they can do 25 basis points or leave it or change. We have seen many central banks of the world leaving their interest rate unchanged, apart from some Western countries that have done a little margin of 25 or 50 basis points. But I believe that with this extension of the subsidy removal, we're trying to see that the fear of inflation galloping also reduce a little. But I'm happy that, as Alaji have said, they want to kind of increase the consultation, bringing the labor, bringing so that it is a really a kind of a backbone issue, because if you remove subsidy without putting all the necessary machinery on ground, it's going to affect the economy. But if now they are going to do it in a wider note, bringing the labor, bringing professionals in the economy, bringing others to consult, that will be making
but I thought they did that before, even before they secured the $800 million US.
No, it's good that they extend it, because I tell you, if you go ahead and remove subsidy without labor can turn around all your plan. And also, now that the money has come, the 800 billion has come, million has come, dollar, let's just size patient, let the incoming government settle and know how to have, not just because you are going, you want to quickly rush. No, I think like what they said from the meeting, that if they are going to suspend it, likely to go forward a supplementary budget to kind of plan for the, if we didn't hear from them between now and May 29, what will happen, if there's a way they can do it. But I believe that it's a good news for the market and the economy. Now I was saying that having a positive earnings, and we're going to expect some positive statement from incoming government that will boost confidence and
okay. Yeah. Kasimu, let me get your thoughts. What are your expectations? It looks like this is going to be the headache for the next administration. If the current government could not do anything about it, even though they've secured $800 million US, perhaps it's going to be burdensome. Let me put it that way, like a burden for the next administration, isn't it? Hello, Kasimu.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Did you hear my question?
No.
Okay. I was saying that if the current government, couldn't do it, because obviously by suspending it, it means that it can't be done in this administration anymore. So it's obviously going to be the next administration, and coming in the next administration, it will be too short to take that decision by June. So what are your expectations? What next now that it's been suspended? What should we begin to do?
No, you see the suspension, don't forget there is already an act established by the National Assembly by June. What they need to do, they need to go back to National Assembly and ask for that extension.
Okay.
And the National Assembly have the prerogative power to extend it or not to extend it. If they choose not to extend it, there is nothing they can do. We just have to take it as given. But I believe that the National Assembly also, part of them, they are coming back, they will like the current government to take into consideration. Don't forget there is no budget for subsidy. Even if we decided to extend it now, we have to go back to the National Assembly and give us extra budget to support the subsidy. So when you look at all what is on the ground, it makes sense for the new government to at least get 1 or 2 months settled before the subsidy removal is completely wiped out. Right. Already, since are on the pipeline, the loan has been signed, and the vehicle are now going to be imported into the country even before the coming of the government. So what they need is the implementation. And I see nothing wrong for the new government to implement it, but carry state along.
All right.
Because the federal government doesn't own the population, it's a state. And the state, they are also paying the pay. So they need also more money, more revenue to be shared among them. Okay. So carrying the state will also not die the labor and also talk to their people that listen, this is for good of us. And this is what we are going to do in place of this. And people will listen and believe them.
Okay. Ambrose, let's have your final take on this before we move on.
For me, the extension is welcome development because the whole goal is we must remove subsidy so that we can use the money to drive development and also increase our infrastructure to support the economic activities. For me, it's a welcome development that we must remove subsidy, but like we said, let's do it in a matured way that it won't hurt the economy. So.
Okay. All right. Then after this break, federal government U.S. firm sealed $15 billion deal for rail line construction in the Niger Delta area.